Welcome to Alex, who has just finished her time with us at the Blissful Breadwinner program. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, Joe.
Would love for you to share a little bit about who you are, your kind of family situation, and anything interesting about you.
So I've come a long way in introducing myself. So here goes. I am a mom of two lovely boys who are age 6 and 10, and I lead the technology and innovation program for the Australian and New Zealand water industry. And one of the reasons that I do that is because I'm passionate about water. I was an Olympic athlete in the sport of rowing, and I love being out on the water. It's quite important to me that everyone gets to enjoy it as much as I did. So I'm quite passionate about water. So that's really what makes me tick. I'm trying to think what else I could mention. I have a lovely husband, and through this program, our relationship has got even better, which I didn't think it could, but it did.
There you go. Well, fabulous. Now, that introduction, people might not know it, but that's a huge step from when I first met Alex. So why don't you talk about, I guess everyone wants to cut to the chase, and what results did you get? What did you get out of the program? Why don't you share, obviously you've just done a lovely introduction. Why don't you share maybe where your introduction maybe was before, and what your kind of key results have been?
So before I started this program, I actually was unaware of how shameful I felt about of my achievements. So I didn't tell everyone that I was an Olympic athlete. I didn't tell everyone I had a PhD. I sort of kept it under the radar because I didn't want to be perceived as a bragger or blowing my own horn all the time. And what I've learned through this program is that that's actually quite an interesting couple of facts that I'm keeping to myself. And by telling people, I'm telling them something interesting, and I'm not necessarily bragging. It's just who I am, and I don't need to be ashamed of it anymore. Yeah, the other part of joining this program was that I was quite unaware of where I was as a mom and as a worker. And I was ambitious, I knew that. I always wanted to go far. But when motherhood hit, it hit me in a way that it was a great leveler, which showed me that sometimes things are not as they seem. So it was well timed that this program came along when it did.
And talk to us about what happened at work in terms of, I think one of the things that we spoke about when you joined was you felt like you kind of prioritized the kids and the family, and that work was an area of your life that you now kind of wanted to focus on, because as the kids become a bit more self-sufficient. What's happened now from a work perspective, and how do you feel at work?
I'm feeling way more confident at work. I have asked for a raise and got it. I've stepped up and taken on new leadership projects, which has been fantastic. It's always something I've wanted to do. And now I feel like my ambitious side, my needs are being met. So before, I just felt I couldn't put my hand up at work because I had the kids. So I've had to challenge my sort of vision of what a good mom is. And by challenging that, and I now feel that I can actually step up at work and lean into all the great projects that I was too afraid to get involved in before, because I was worried I wouldn't have the time and I wouldn't be there for the school pickup. So that's been the biggest change.
And then how things changed at home. I know many women in your situation are worried that I've kind of been holding down the fort at home. If I take on more at work, home's going to fall apart. How has home coped now that you're leaning more into work?
Surprisingly well.
Funny that.
One of my main concerns was that by me doing more work, I would put more of a load on my husband, and he would have to do a lot more of the drudge work and housework, and all of the school pickups and all the sport drop-offs and all that kind of thing. And he has stepped up. I've included him in part of the process of this program, and I think that's helped, is he's been very supportive of me doing this program. And he is now enjoying actually taking the boys to tennis. It's one of his favorite things to do. Whereas before it was kind of, we would be like arm wrestling over, oh, I have to do sport today. Can't you do it? Whereas now he's kind of taken that on, that's his thing. And he's even gone to the great length of organizing the tennis lessons. Normally I'm the one organizing all of the extramurals, but he's now, right, this is my thing. I'm now the tennis guy. And he takes them to tennis and he gets involved. And yeah, it's great that the boys are now seeing more of their dad, and less of me. But I think that they're actually flourishing because of it. On the house side, I'm in the fortunate position in that I have a fantastic mother-in-law, and I've actually asked her to help out a lot more around the house, and she's very happy with doing that. So that's been another big win for me. Whereas before I would always feel bad asking her to help, because I felt like, oh, you should be able to do this. You're a perfectionist. You can do the perfect home, perfect life, perfect kids. By letting go of that and just letting her help, which is what she's always wanted to do, I've freed myself up and now I can work.
Wow. So there's a word that you've been using to describe how you feel right now, which I love. Do you want to share what that word is?
Unstoppable.
I love it. And tell me, what would be a word you would have described yourself, if we come back a few months before you found me? How did your life look?
Floaty.
Floaty.
I was just floating along, drifting here, drifting there, not really realizing that I was doing all the things that I was doing and that I was holding myself back. I actually think it took a pandemic for me to realize that I couldn't continue as I was doing, because that just added all the loads all together all at once, and I felt like I was at breaking point, with homeschooling and all the rest of it. But before then I was just floating along, not really realizing or being intentional about my life. I was just kind of, oh, that's what comes next.
Yeah. And did that make you feel like you were almost, betraying a part of yourself that really did want this career, but you kind of didn't feel like you were able to get it? That must have been very frustrating.
Yeah, it was frustrating. And it's almost like it's probably a societal and a culture thing. As a young girl, you're kind of raised, you're just as good as the boys. You deserve everything that they get, and you can go out there and take on the world. And you believe that. I certainly believe that. But then motherhood comes along, and men can't do the birthing, the breastfeeding, and all the rest of it. And so you very quickly fall into a pattern of, well, I have to be the mom, and I love my kids, so I'm going to do the best I can for them, and I'm going to be the best mom. And you feel like you have to sacrifice on what was the original you, which was going to take on the world and light the place up. And I lost touch with that side of me.
Is it nice to get it back?
Very much so. I now go to sleep going, I love you, Alex.
I love it. And then tell me, what else had you tried to do to kind of fix this problem beforehand, to lean into work, or to just stop floating?
Look, I think I've been to counseling like most people. I haven't been in the workplace for that long in terms of other people of my age, just because I did the rowing for so long. And so I'm in the beginning part of what I would call a career. I've certainly done a few small leadership courses, but I haven't done anything massive. I did a PhD because I felt like I wasn't qualified enough. So if that goes for trying something, then that was probably overkill.
Well, not only that, but you did that while, wasn't it, relocating countries and with two small children? So
Yeah.
we kind of, we got to tell the full story here. We can't
Yeah.
kind of hide it. Remember, we're not playing small anymore.
No, we're not playing small.
We're not playing small. So tell me, if you're sitting here now talking to the Alex of a few months ago, what would you say to her?
You don't know what you're missing out on. Give the program a go. Invest in yourself. You are totally worth it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Was that one of the hardest things you had to do, was actually invest in yourself, the time and money? Was that one of the hardest steps for you?
Yeah, I think so. You very quickly will hand over money for your kids, for their education, for their sport, anything to help them get ahead. You'll hand over money for, a holiday for your family. You'll hand over money to go on a skiing trip. You'll hand over money to, paint the roof on your house. But if you're not investing in yourself, then yeah, you've got to put yourself first at some point. And this isn't even putting yourself first, it's just giving you an equal share. So I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tell me, what does the future hold for Unstoppable Alex?
Well,
Got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
it does, yeah. I'm very excited to say that I've signed up to be a mentor for someone, which is fantastic because I always wanted to find someone to mentor me, and now I'm actually mentoring someone else. I have great plans for where I'm working at the moment and this technology innovation program. I think we're going to have a huge, huge impact in the water industry and how they relate to their customers and how they can operate more sustainably. I started a program looking at the sustainable development goals and how we can share that across borders now that people can't interact professionally face to face. We're doing it all online. So yeah, the opportunities are endless. It's just having the time and the space and the mindset to reach out and grab them.
How exciting. And then what would your takeaways be for anyone listening thinking, oh, I'm kind of where Alex is, I'm a bit floating, or I've kind of done the mum thing and now maybe it's my turn. What would you say to them?
I'm trying to think what would have the most meaning. I would say trust the process. I would say you've got to invest in yourself at some stage. And if you give yourself a chance and give yourself grace, as you always tell us, Joe, and and just look beyond where you're currently looking at how you think, believe, you can uncover a greatness that I think is there, but you're not quite sure how powerful it is until you unleash it. So yeah, I've unleashed it.
I love it. Unleashing the unstoppable Alex. That has an amazing ring to it. Well, my dear, you've been a pleasure to work with, and this is just the beginning, I think, of amazing things. Of I think a life that has been hopefully changed forever in the right direction.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you for all your help. It's been a wonderful journey, and I actually can't wait for the next part of it.